If you're an investor, then microcredit works fantastically because it's a relatively low risk investment opportunity. You can make a hell of a lot of money. We've seen this in Mexico, we've seen this in Peru, we've seen it, as I say, Cambodia, in many countries as an investment opportunity, or as a manager and a CEO working in a microcredit institution. It's the big time. You can really hit it big in the global south. But from development people like ourselves, does it work means does it reduce poverty? And the answer, I think, is quite categorically no. There have been a lot of studies done on this over the last 10 years in particular, and none of them can come up with any concrete evidence that microcredit has any impact on poverty. And in fact, I would argue that a lot of the evidence that is coming up now is that microcredit is basically about impoverishing further the poor. We knew from the 1970s with important work done at the ILO that the informal economy was an important aspect of survival in the global south. But what that work showed was that people were already struggling in the informal economy. And when microcredit evangelists and advocates came along and said, well, this is fantastic. If you really want to get out of poverty, all you have to do is take a microloan and go and jump into the informal sector and survive and do what everybody else is doing. But of course, what that does is it increases the amount of competition. And so returns tend to soften, prices soften, the amount of turnover most people have in their business goes down because you've got more competitors. And so actually the returns on working in the informal economy go down. As it appears that there's more dynamism and more innovation, actually things are getting worse. But if you're from some of the development agencies that support this, you say, well, that's actually a sign that things are getting better. People are more active. But in actual fact, they're struggling harder and harder to survive. Well, coming from my background in consulting and academic work was on industrial policy and how economies grow. And they don't grow because of micro enterprises in what we would call petty trade or petty buying and selling or petty retail. That isn't how economies grow. It grows because there's a small number of high growth or innovative or technology related companies that link together. That's what we know from industrial policy. That's how countries in the rich Western countries grew, and that's how countries elsewhere have grown, like the East Asian miracle economies. So we know that's how they grow. A certain amount of small companies we need to support. But that's not what microcredit is doing. It's supporting the exact opposite, the exact wrong type of companies. The easy entry, easy exit retail, petty trading, fast food. If you support those types of businesses, you never